Okay, let's dive straight in. We're looking at something pretty fascinating today.
Yeah.
Two versions of the same movie,
Right.
Justice League, and why one seemed to connect so much more, even with folks who weren't, diehard fans. It wasn't just about what happened, but how it was told.
That's exactly it. We've been digging into this analysis that kind of strips away all the drama, the behind-the-scenes stuff, and just looks at the filmmaking choices, purely technical. Tone, pacing, character moments, the feeling of stakes, comparing them side by side.
Right, and our goal here, our mission in this deep dive, is really to unpack what that analysis found, give you a shortcut maybe to understanding how these sometimes subtle decisions, lighting, color, editing pace, even just a line of dialogue, can completely shift how you experience a film.
Yeah, because this goes way beyond just superhero flicks, doesn't it? It's about looking at any movie and starting to see the structure, the craft. Why does something grab you, or why does it just fall flat? This comparison really highlights some of that.
Exactly. Think about a film you really loved, or one that just didn't click. Why? This stuff gets into the technical why behind that feeling. And actually, as we start, we'd love to hear what you think initially. Did you see both versions of Justice League? What was your gut reaction to the biggest difference? Let us know those other opinions down in the comments. And hey, if this sounds interesting, maybe hit that like button and subscribe to the other opinion. Helps us out a lot.
Okay, so where to start? The analysis points to tone as maybe the most obvious difference, like right from the first few seconds.
And tone isn't simple, is it? It's built from lots of things.
Yeah.
The analysis mentions lighting, like that airplane scene being really moody versus much clearer, color grading, the music, even props, like the choice of a shovel. It all contributes to the overall, vibe.
Definitely. And you see it laid out in character intros. Aquaman is a great example the analysis uses. In the Snyder Cut, it's darker, more brooding, almost melancholic. You get that sense of struggle, that slightly awkward walk he does.
Yeah, whereas the original cut, he's just kind of, bam, confident. And they use that quick cut to music to give it energy. It feels lighter, actively avoiding any awkwardness.
And beyond the visuals, the writing plays a huge part. The analysis flags those added jokes in the original The Mother-in-Law line, gorgeous and fierce and strong. The feeling from the analysis was a lot of those just didn't really land, felt a bit forced.
Okay, so the tones are clearly different.
Yeah.
But here's the key insight from the analysis, right?
Yeah.
It's not saying dark is better than light, or light is better than dark, objectively.
Not at all. What the analysis really hammers home is consistency. Does the tone match the story you're actually telling? Does it feel coherent?
And the argument in the analysis is that the original's tone felt inconsistent, like trying to paint over something with a different color. The source used the phrase like trying to put an Avengers color grade on a film that was fundamentally moodier.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the Snyder Cut, flaws and all, it felt like it knew what it wanted to be tonally. It had a consistent vision, even if you don't love that vision.
And the analysis pushes back a bit on that simple DC dark, Marvel light thing too, suggesting the difference in, say, early success wasn't just tone, but maybe better filmmaking, writing, just more entertaining movies overall sometimes. They use The Dark Knight as the classic example. Super dark, huge success.
Right. It comes down to making a compelling film, whatever the tone is.
Makes you think, doesn't it? About films you love. How important is that overall tone to you? Have you seen films where it felt completely off or inconsistent? Would love to hear your other opinions on that. Drop them in the comments. And while you're there, hitting like and subscribe for the other opinion would be awesome.
Okay, so tone is huge. But next up, the analysis really digs into pacing. And apparently, a big driver here was a studio mandate to just cut the runtime down significantly.
Which makes a massive difference to the rhythm, obviously.
Oh, huge. Take Wonder Woman's introduction. The Snyder Cut builds it up for, minutes? You feel the tension building before she bursts in?
Right. Whereas the original takes that sequence,
Yeah.
which was maybe 4 minutes long, and cuts it down to less than half that. Just bam, bam, plot points. You lose all that suspense.
And that was the pattern the analysis found. The original just trims everything, shaving seconds off scenes, even tiny bits off individual shots, just to make it flow faster, faster, faster.
And the impact of that speed. The analysis kind of described the original as feeling almost like a montage at times, just jumping between things so quickly.
Yeah, and in doing that, you lose the stuff that makes a movie feel immersive,
Right.
those little moments.
Like that scene the analysis mentioned with Wonder Woman and Alfred just having tea. Seems like nothing, maybe.
On the surface, yeah. But the analysis points out it does so much. It gives a bit of character depth, shows time passing, builds the sense of scale. Like the team isn't just forming overnight, it feels more grounded.
Yeah.
And that was just gone in the original.
So the critique from the analysis is pretty stark. The original tried to cram a long story into a short box. They cut and rewrote, but it just didn't quite fit. The analysis generally preferred Snyder's scenes for actually telling the story better, pace-wise.
Now, that's not to say the Snyder Cut's pacing was perfect. The analysis is clear on that, too. While it gave things more room, it also maybe tried to do too much in too much time. There's definitely extra stuff in there.
Right, like that scene with the bulls fighting?
Yeah.
Meant to be about the stock market.
Yeah.
Or the extra ATM hacking.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of clutter.
A bit of clutter, exactly. So the conclusion on pacing, according to the analysis, is that the ideal version is probably somewhere in the middle, finding the rhythm that serves the story, not just hitting a 2-hour target.
Makes sense.
And just quickly, editing did more than pace. The analysis noted it shaped tone, too. Snyder showed more visceral violence. The original, often cut away, just showed faces reacting.
Ah, okay. Interesting detail. So for you watching at home, how crucial is pacing? Do you like things fast, or do you prefer a story that takes its time? Let us know your other opinions below. And hey, if you're getting something out of this deep dive, please hit that like and subscribe for the other opinion. Really helps us keep going.
All right, let's shift gears slightly to character and stakes, because the analysis argues these felt radically different, too. The critique of the original was that it was harder to connect. The characters felt less human somehow.
Yeah, the Snyder Cut just gave them more room to breathe, as the analysis put it, more time spent with them.
And the prime example used is Cyborg. His whole backstory, his relationship with his dad, that entire emotional core that explains so much about him.
It's just gone in the original, completely removed, which is huge for his character.
Huge. Now, the analysis does acknowledge the Snyder Cut maybe went too far sometimes. Some development felt a bit redundant, that clutter issue again. But it clearly preferred too much development over basically none.
And because the characters felt different, the stakes felt different. The Superman resurrection is a really key contrast the analysis makes. In the original, it felt, well, kind of flat, didn't it? The conflict was just charge the box. The analysis called it lame and trite.
Yeah, it felt almost like an afterthought, whereas the Snyder Cut really builds it up. Who's going to say it? That whole sequence.
Right.
Plus, the analysis points out it adds actual stakes, the danger of accidentally summoning Steppenwolf. Flash's role is bigger, pushing his limits, which pays off later, and cutting back to Lois adds that emotional weight.
Or think about the first big team fight. In Snyder's version, Cyborg's motivation is clear. His dad's a hostage. It adds this personal, emotional layer to the conflict.
Right. But the original cut, having removed the dad plotline, replaces that with Flash being nervous. I've never done battle. It gives Flash a tiny arc in that moment, but the analysis felt it was way less significant overall.
And what about that Russian family the original added?
Ah, yes. The analysis actually gave credit for the idea there, trying to humanize the stakes, show real people affected. Good impulse.
But the execution.
Yeah, the execution got heavily criticized. It felt obviously patched in, totally disconnected. It resulted in what the analysis called a lame moment and a cheap joke. A real lesson in how you do something matters maybe more than what you do.
So true. What about you? What character moments really make a film stick with you? Does seeing the impact on ordinary people change how you feel the stakes? We'd love to hear your other opinions, the drill comments below. And maybe a like and subscribe for the other opinion while you're there.
Okay, looking at just overall quality, the analysis wasn't pulling punches on either version, really. It hit the original's reshoots pretty hard, weak writing sometimes, questionable CG, the villain looking like a bad video game character.
Yeah, and those added exposition scenes, just characters walking by a lake explaining plot. Pretty uninspired stuff, according to the analysis.
But it also acknowledged the Snyder Cut's issues. It is 4 hours long, which, okay, understandable given the context, releasing his full vision plus some new stuff. But it has clutter. Some scenes, like a particular cameo, had the analyst asking, what on earth is this even doing here?
Fair enough.
And the analysis tried to look at the Snyder Cut just as a movie, setting aside the whole fan campaign, the collectible status. And the analysts actually referenced that famous line from Red Letter Media, agreeing the Snyder Cut is maybe an unbutchered mess.
An unbutchered mess. So acknowledging the messiness, the flaws.
Yeah, acknowledging all that. But the final verdict from the analysis was still pretty clear. The Snyder Cut is way more compelling, more entertaining, and just more interesting to watch than the original theatrical version. despite its flaws.
But the analysis also suggested the best possible version probably lies somewhere between the two, right?
Exactly. Somewhere in the middle might have been the sweet spot.
It makes you wonder, have you ever watched different cuts of the same movie? Director's cuts, extended editions, that kind of thing. What differences jumped out at you? Which did you prefer? Share those other opinions in the comments. And please, like, subscribe to The Other Opinion, maybe even share this deep dive with a friend who's into movies.
So yeah, wrapping this up, our deep dive today really shows how those huge differences in watching the two Justice Leagues boil down to these fundamental filmmaking choices, don't they?
Totally. Tone, pacing, character, stakes,
Yeah.
how they're built and handled.
It's just such a powerful reminder that how a story gets told, the craft, the structure, the technical stuff can be just as important, maybe even more important sometimes than the basic plot itself.
Absolutely.
And, you know, this whole situation kind of leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? When you have a director with a really strong vision, but a studio wants something else, maybe something they think is more commercial, who gets the final cut? Who decides what the audience sees?
Or, like the analysis hinted, maybe that in-between version is best sometimes. Does creative compromise, when done well, actually lead to a stronger film? It's definitely something to chew on.
Food for thought.
Definitely. Well, we really hope this deep dive gave you some new perspectives on how movies are put together and what makes them resonate with you or not. If you found it valuable, please do give us a like and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more deep dives like this one. And absolutely share it around if you know someone who'd find it interesting. And most importantly, please leave us a comment with your other opinions on all of this. We really do want to hear them. Just one final quick note. This deep dive was generated by an AI model based on source material analysis. We try hard to be accurate, but some details might be off or misinterpreted. Always good to think critically and check original sources.